Hello, welcome to your academy. At your academy, we have been dealing with the general prologue by Geoffrey Chaucer. We have been dealing with the text of the general prologue. So far as we have dealt with quite a number of portraits from the prologue, today we'll take up the portrait of Haberdasher. Now in the portrait of Haberdasher, it is not a portrait of one person for that matter. Haberdasher means, those people are those persons who have shops or who are shopkeeper. In short, haberdasher means shopkeeper. A shopkeeper who sells some small kind of things like needles, like other things, like even for that matter the clothes, the shoes, and other daily necessities of life. So haberdasher is an umbrella term. Under this, there would be quite few businessmen or few shopkeepers whose portrait Geoffrey Chaucer would explain to us. And the character or the portrait of all those 3-4 figures would be done in this one paragraph, in this one stanza under the heading haberdasher. Now, who were these haberdashers? Who were these shopkeepers? What kind of the shopkeepers were they? Now, they are very different from the merchant, because this merchant is slightly higher or more influential or more wealthier than a mere shopkeeper. Now, let's deal with the portrait of the shopkeepers. It would be a very short portrait, which is immediately followed by the after the portrait of the Franklin, and after the the portrait of the haberdasher, we will have the portrait of the cook. So let's take up the portrait of haberdasher. A haberdasher and a carpenter, an arras maker, dyer, and weaver were with us. Now there are 5 people to whom he is referring: a haberdasher, a carpenter, a dyer, an arras maker, and a weaver. Now all these people are the businessman. For example, haberdasher is a shopkeeper, carpenter is a skilled person, a skilled laborer, an arras maker is the one who would usually make the carpets, and then there's a dyer who dyes the clothes, and then there is a weaver who weaves the clothes. So there are 5 people whose portrait would be discussed here under the heading of the haberdasher. So these were the people who were also with us. So perhaps all these 5 men were sitting together, and Geoffrey Chaucer did not find it fit to discuss their portraits one by one or individually. So he discusses their portrait together only in one stanza. All of one sober, great fraternity. They were serious, and they had a great community. Fraternity would be friendly. All of them were friendly. All of them had good bonding with each other. Now this word sober or seriousness is in contrast to the character of Franklin. Now Franklin loved wine, and sober is a person which we mostly use with a person who avoids alcohol, who avoids smoking, who avoids such things. So these people avoided alcohol. They were sober, and they looked friendly with each other because there were 5 of them. Their gear was new and well adorned it was. Now gear means style, we would say fashion. Therefore these are the clothes. So the clothes that they had put on were new, and they were adorned also. They were attractive also. Adorned would mean attractive. Now again you will find that the focus is again on the clothes, and even when he dealt with the portrait of merchant, even there the focus was on the attire of the merchant rather than anything else. Their weapons were not cheaply trimmed with brass, but all with silver, chastely made and well. In these 2 verses, Geoffrey Chaucer tells us about the weapons that these tradesmen are carrying, these businessmen are carrying. And what is the best aspect of their weapons is that they are not cheaply trimmed with brass, which means that they are trimmed all with silver. Brass is a cheap metal in comparison with silver. So this gives an idea that these people, these men, these businessmen are basically rich. So not many people, or as I have told earlier, that all the characters in the prologue, they carry weapons with themselves, the daggers and the swords and other things. But these are the only characters in the prologue about whom Geoffrey Chaucer would say that their weapons were not cheaply trimmed. And they were chastely made also, which means that they were made in a better shape with good quality. Their girdles and their pouches too, I tell. Girdle is a belt that is worn, on the waist, for that matter. So they were wearing those. It was of good quality, and the pouches that they were carrying with themselves, they were also of good quality. I'm telling you. So again, the focus, as I said earlier, is not on their achievements but on what they are wearing. And all of these 5 people who are the skilled men of the feudal society, whether it is haberdasher, it is carpenter, it is weaver, it is dyer, it is arras maker, they are all skilled laborers. They are all skilled people, skilled men. Each of them appeared a proper burgess. Now, in this verse, he tells us that these people appeared to me as if they belonged to a town. The word burgess here means a person who belongs to a town or a city. So these people belonged to a town. To sit in Guildhall on a high dais, and each of them for wisdom he could span, was fitted to have been an elder man. Guildhall means town hall. Now these people can go and sit in the town hall because they are the people who belong to the business community. They are the skilled men, so they would often go and sit in the town hall. Not only this, that they had also been the elder man. The elder man, would be a member of a municipal committee. So these people have also been the members of the municipal committee. Now what we find is that they are influential. He does not tell us much about their character, but he tells us about their robes, about their attire, and what they do in their life. They are quite influential people. They have a place in town hall where not many people have, and they have also been the members of municipal committee. For chattels, they had enough and two of rent. This chattels is a word which is used for personal property, and they had a lot of personal property, and they would also give that on rent. They would lend it. Now again, it is important that, as I told earlier in the portrait of the Franklin, that not many people in feudal society owned the property. There were few, and those who were, have been mentioned specifically by Geoffrey Chaucer. Franklin was mentioned by Geoffrey Chaucer. A passing reference was there also of wealth and property in the Man of Law, and it is also here in the character portrait of the haberdasher, of the weaver, of the carpenter, of the dyer, and of the arras maker, to which their good wives gave a free assent. Free assent means official agreement. Their good wives. Now see, those people who are influential, even their wives are quite influential, and they live with great honor and dignity, or for that matter with slight bit of ego. And those who would, even if they own some property, they would hand over that property to the husband. Now remember, in the feudal society, or in the Chaucer's times, the wives, or the woman, was not having right to property. Now even if they had any property, that property was handed over to husbands, and these wives of the haberdasher or the carpenter or others, they would give this assent, willfully, willingly. They would not object to the ownership of their property by their husbands, or else for certain they had been to blame. It's good to hear madam before one's name. And they would not blame even someone else for this. Now remember that after Chaucer's time, when we came into the 18th and 19th century, the females in England raised voice through feminism that the right to property should be given to the woman. But in Chaucer's times, that was not done. There were not women who, perhaps in Chaucer's opinion, were not rebellious, for that matter, that they would say that we would not hand our property over to our husbands. And secondly, even if there was any such chance, these people, these husbands, whenever they called for their wives, they would use madam before their name. They would show respect to them, honor to them, and in this way, they can take up their property also. Now here, what Geoffrey Chaucer is again saying, that for the women perhaps of the Chaucer's times, respect and dignity was more important than the property they owned. If their husband was caring and loving and he showed respect, was chivalric in nature, the wives would give with assent, with will, their property over to the husbands, and go to the church when all the world may see, having one's mental born right royally. And mostly these wives, these good wives, when will they go to the church? When everyone sees. This tells us more about the wives. Now there is an important thing that we find in the portrait of these five men. The last few lines are dedicated to the wives. Now whether wives were with them or not, we don't know. And Geoffrey Chaucer, whether he made the opinions of the wives of the haberdasher, carpenter, dyer, weaver without their presence is unknown, but he talks a lot about them, and he gives us good idea. He talks about the affectation in the women. For example, these wives, they would go to the church when everybody sees them. And later also in the prologue, when Geoffrey Chaucer would deal with the portrait of the wife of the Bath, the affectation principle would also be there, or the habit of affectation would also be there. But still we know that there were two females who were going on this pilgrimage. One was the prioress, and with her was also a nun, and the other was the wife of the Bath. So they would be three. But here he gives a reference to their wives who are not present, but still Geoffrey Chaucer tells us a lot about them. Somehow he found out when these wives go to the church, and they go to the church when everyone sees them. And it's not only necessary for these wives that people see that they are going to church, but what they are more interested in is their attire, is their dress, which they would wear royally, and they wish that people who are watching them see how royal these wives are, because these are the wives of the skilled men of the feudal society of the Chaucer's times. So that was the portrait of the haberdasher, carpenter, arrest maker, dyer, and weaver. Not much has been told to us about these. The only two important things that are there is, one, they have good dresses, and the other, they are the influential men of the society. They have the right to sit in the town hall. They have been the members of the municipal committee, and also they own personal property. They own their own property as well as the property of their wives. That is all we have at your academy. We dealt with the portrait of haberdasher, carpenter, arrest maker, weaver, and dyer. To continue watching lectures on the prologue, you can click here to watch the portrait of the cook, and you can click here on this end screen. This will take you to the playlist of the prologue, and in that playlist you can watch the lecture on whatsoever character you want to watch from the general prologue. You can click here also to subscribe your academy. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe at your academy. For more interesting stuff, keep watching your academy.